How's it going, Scrub Gamers? Welcome back to another video here at Scrub Games, and today we've got a little break from the local videos we've had on the channel recently for this last week, trying to make some time to do some other videos, but just I'm quite busy at the moment. But I thought since we've got the the gameplay for Cad Bane, well, when I was using Cad Bane for last week out, might as well do the go over the deck profile to kind of look at the deck as well and notify any of my changes that I might have made to it. Because anytime I get a deck, I will test out against locals, and then from my testing, I'll kind of see if there's anything that needs changing, any like cards that need including, removing, or like updating their amount, like number of copies or lowering the number of copies for any given card. So in any of the videos as well, I did put the deck list I was using for it. Like it wasn't mine, I got it from the Spanish top 4, but I have kind of amended it how I would like it playing because I actually really enjoyed it when I played it. So I thought I'd just go over the changes, and also still got the side deck as well. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Before we do, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. It keeps you updated with my video as and when it drops. And also by clicking the notification bell, you can get alerts when my videos do drop, so you can watch them there and then, or at a later time that suits you best. So we're going to go over CAD, so just quickly go over the leader and the base, because we are running actually a non-vanilla base. We're actually running one of the rare bases. So we've got Cad Bane here. So he is one of the Villainy Cunning, so yellow-black leaders from set 2. And he's quite interesting because he's all around the underworld trait. And he's all about when you play an underworld card, it does something. And on both sides, the basic effect is if you play an underworld card, you can do a damage to one of your opponent's units, but they get to choose which one they takes damage. So you do some damage quite nice. So you kind of can make it so, like in some situations, you can make it so you get to choose by if they've got one thing on board, they have to hit that one. So kind of that situation. But then if your opponent has a lot of things on board or more than one thing on board, they can choose to put something else on it. But they got two things that are quite low on, quite high on damage, then it can still be quite devastating to having to choose either one to then potentially die from the effect. But you might be thinking, is there much difference? Because sometimes when a leader deploys, he does get a better effect, or absolutely changes. Since it's the same on leader, it is kind of an upgrade when he is deployed. Because when he is in the leader area, it's literally, as the effect describes, when you play an underworld card, so that's basically a trait, because as you can see, he's an underworld and bounty hunter card, then you can exhaust this leader, and if you do, an opponent chooses a unit they control and they deal 1 damage to it. So they deal 1 damage when he's in the leader area. But when he's deployed, he then gains raid, also comes as a 2/8, so very hefty in its HP at 8 health, and also 2 damage, which doesn't seem that great given that Cad Bane is Cad Bane. But he does have raid 2, so when he does attack, he does a bit more damage. Just when he's being attacked into, he doesn't do much in retaliation. So he's basically he's basically doing 2 back when he's attacked, but when he swings, he is hitting for 4. And he also commands on turn 6, 6 resource as well, which is most of the time, if you're not ramping, turn 5 at the earliest. And he's got the same kind of effect where when you play an underworld card, you may choose an opponent, and then they choose a unit they control, deal 2 damage to that unit, and you can only use his ability only once each round. So like on the front side, on the leader side, sorry. So when he's in the leader area, he's affecting regard to tapping, so you can do it once when you play a card, you can't do it constantly. So you can do 1 damage, but you might think, when he's deployed, if you don't have the exhaust him, you can do more, but no, it only allows you to use it once. You can do 3 damage potentially on this deploy turn by playing something when he's in the lead area, exhaust him, make him choose what unit to do 1 damage to, and then deploy him, play another underworld unit and underworld card, do that as underworld card, and then do another 2 damage to something. You can do that, quite a lot of damage there. But then when he's deployed, there's a little bit more damage, which is more hefty, especially 2 damages can be quite a lot as well. So pretty nice ability there. I know a lot of the time when people compare because of the aspects, like why play Cad Bane because you got Boba, but then sometimes you want to play different characters, different kind of try things, especially at locals. You want to try different things and more fun leaders. You don't always have to play high competitively. And that's Cad Bane, and of course we're playing red with it because I want to try out Cad Bane Red because there's different ways you can play him, but I want to try out red. And we've got Tarkin Town. This goes very well with the lead as well because it's all about damage. Because aggression is essentially an aspect where is all about doing damage by effects or by attacking. And with Target Town, it's a rare base, so it's got 25 health, so 5 less than a normal base, like vanilla one. But it comes with a nice epic action, meaning you can deal 3 damage to a damage non-leader unit. So it doesn't affect the leaders at all, which is not amazing, but It's still pretty good because it does 3 damage to its damage. Since you can damage something with Cad Bane, you can then potentially take it out or do an extra 3 damage to it with Target Town. So it pairs very well with the leader, which makes for a very nice combination. Like Cad Bane being all about damage, and then the aggression, the aspect itself, being all about putting out damage, be it to base or to units, willy nilly by their effects, is a really good combination. So that's the leader and base to get you understanding why we've gone for it. I think you could go if you want for a 30 health base if you feel like 25 isn't enough because there isn't really any healing in this combination. But Tarkin Town is a really nice one, and because as I said, has really good synergy with Cad Bane's effect. Being able to do 3 damage, Slinky does damage is very nice. You can eventually have that 3 damage could be enough to take out something that you're just out of the reach of potentially. So going into the deck, and we're going to go like we normally do. We're going to go over the units first, and then any upgrades we play, and then any events after that. And then we're going to go from the lowest costing to the highest costing, so you can kind of see the kind of how the turns curve out, how things curve, and what you can come play. So I started off with I was playing the galvanized soldier, the light bulb head thing, because it was a one. Because I didn't understand why it was in the list. I thought it's a pretty nice unit, but it's not worth it really. It's like I get it because it's in there because it's underworld unit to ping for Cad Bane. It's cheap once you can play it, and then Shion is like if you want to do something else after or just get more things on board, it's a 2-3 for 1 as well. The only downside is as well as having Saboteur, which is nice to avoid to ignore Sentinel or defeat shields on a unit. It does have a bounty, but the bounty is just draw 1 card, so it's not too bad. But I felt like Reckless Gunslinger might be a little bit better because it's also a 1 cost underworld you can play to trigger it, but it also has effect that deals 1 damage to each base. It does do it to yours as well as your opponent, but it could be a way to kind of finish off damage. And it's also a card you can smuggle as well, so you can always resource it early, and then later on, if you need that 1 damage, you can use Reckless Gunslinger to just smuggle out and then ping for that last 1 damage. Really nice one there. I need 2 copies because you don't want to have too many, because also the more you play, the more they're pinging you as well. But then this could be a nice one that end games and also be a cheap underworld as well to kind of trigger Cad Bane without taking up your whole turn trying to do it. We've also got free Greedo as well. Greedo is also a underworld unit. It's underworld and bounty hunter, so you pair perfectly with Cad Bane. You can see a theme with this. There's a lot of underworld cards because the underworld trait is how you like is what the leader based around. You have to play something that has underworld the trait, and even extras do have, or events, sorry, not extras, keep getting mixed up with different games, but even events do have the traits as well, and you will see there is at least 1, maybe 2, no, I think it's just 1 event that does have Underworld, and it's a really good one as well. And Greed is really nice because it's a 1 cost free 1, so not much health, but a lot of power, and has a nice little when defeated, allowing you to discard a top card of your deck. And if it's not a unit, so it could be an upgrade or an event, then you get 2 damage to a ground unit, so pinging out a lot of damage, pairs perfectly with Cad Bane, even though it's unique because you can see a little star in front of his name, we still also play 3 of them because he's such a good card, very good one that play early as turn 1. Or if you just want to play more cards out on board, it's a very good statted and cheap unit. Then we've got 2 copies of Bazine, so she is also a underworld card, so another one that can trigger Cad Bane on its effect. And also a cheap one at 2 cost, 1 free. She's also a card you can smuggle as well. She's a nice card you can just basically charge and then use later. And she is very good for all times of the game. You can play them early to kind of see if your opponent's got a turn 1 play or only 1 card they can play that turn. If they're in the very early stage of the turn, they basically just discard that. If they don't get a new one, they basically just pass the turn or just claim initiative. And also allowing you to look at your opponent's hand, rip something out their hand that you do not want them to have. It could be something you don't want to have later in game or earlier in the game. And then they want to do replace it by drawing a new card. They used to then get rid of that card and also know what's in their hand, know what they're going to do. So it's really nice with the hand knowledge and also hand disruption. So we've got 2 copies because it's not the best with stats, and even though it's a 2 cost quite cheap, it's not something you want to play constantly, and it's just there for like utility of being able to look at your opponent's hand and even smuggle later on. Then we've got 3 copies of Crafty Smuggler. Nothing more to say about this. It was used as early in set 1 as well, and it is from set 1. As it's a 2 cost 2/2 that comes in shielded, so it comes in and gains a shield, and as an underworld unit, so it's a 1 that can trigger Cad Bane and stick around quite sticky because of its shield. Quite nice, and just pinging that 2 damage can also be annoying to opponent's units as well because it should be ping 1 damage from being played, and then this being able to finish off anything that may have free health thanks to Cad and its shield. So got 3 copies of that because more underworld cards. Then we've got Cloud Rider as well. This is a nice one, and a nice thing about Ambush is that it triggers at the same time Cad's ability is triggered. So this is a nice one where you can play this out, do the ambush first, swing, potentially take out something with the free damage, and basically suicide it in. and then Cad Bane can then tap itself because you played an underworld card and trigger and ping the damage. So your opponent's got 2 things, so they got 1 thing in the space unit arena and 1 thing in the ground, and you can take out something in the ground arena with Cloud Rider. You can play Cloud Rider, trigger the ambush first, then go ahead and take out the thing in the ground arena, then trigger Cad to then have to force them to put a damage down their only card on the board, being the card in space. Or you go out, like you've got something that's close to death in arena, and you can use like ambush and just see situations around. It's all about the sequencing and how you like resolve effects as well. Like ambush is a really nice one to pair with Cad Bane. So we've got 3 goals to this as well because it's a nice early turn that can help. Even if they play something that's got 4 health early on, Cloud Rider can come down, ping the damage from Cad Bane, and then finish it off with the ambush as well. So really nice reach with Cloud Rider. Then we've also put in the Pirate Starfighter because, like you've seen with things like Crafty Smuggler, once he loses his shield, he's just there as a 2/2. So Pirate Starfighter can come in and bounce that back into your hands. You can then have another underworld unit play next turn or the same turn. To say, especially if you're on the turn where Cad can flip, you can make sure you've guaranteed got a underworld unit. You kind of play back down. So nice there. We only play 2 because the only problem with this card is that it's got a when played where you have to return a friendly non-leader unit to his owner's hand, and if it's the only card on board, you have to pass itself back, so that's not a really good way to play. But it's also an underworld to trigger Cad Bane as well and get back anything that might be damaged that you want to kind of get back and then replay out fresh as a daisy. Or if you want to reuse something that's got like an on play, or like with Crafty Smuggler, it's got a shielded kind of effect, things like that. So this is one I've got 2 copies in for just something a bit nicer in the space arena, because I felt like there isn't too much you've got, but then this feels like a way to, I like kind of effects like this to kind of reuse it, especially when I played Hand Control Jin. Nice to be able to recycle things like Bodhi and just play it back again. Like reuses when played is really, really nice. Then we're going into higher costs. Now we're going to free costs. We've got all the things you can play as early as turn 1, even like Pirate Starfighter technically if you want to just basically troll. But we got Boba Fett being another underworld unit, trigger Cad Bane, very nice, very good stats at 3/5, which is now the norm now, like the standard for free cost units at least in the set from the second set, or second set onwards as well. And it's also got a very nice effect where on attack, if the unit you're attacking into is exhausted and has been there for at least 1 turn, you can deal 3 damage to that defender. So if a unit's been there for a turn at least, it was played the last turn, and it's exhausted, Boba Fett can do 3 damage. You can potentially take out things higher, like with like big health up to 6 health, that are like bigger things, easier with Boba Fett, or it's sort of a very solid unit as well for a free cost, very cheap. And I think it's the only legendary in the deck. I'm not 100%, I think it is, which makes it be quite a cheap deck because you can always switch this out for a different free cost unit. There's not many as the same stats, but you can, if you want to play this on a budget, you can always replace this with something else, and then you've got a kind of nice little budget deck as well, which is good. Then we got 3 copies of Punishing One, so nice space unit, and just like how the light side of Cunning, so the like yellow-white, has the Millennium Falcon, we've got a unit in the dark side of at least the Underworld stuff that is the same stats, but just maybe not as great, but we've got still good stats. We've got Punishing One, which is a free cost, 3/4, so very good stats, a unique unit as well. And it's got a nice one where if an upgraded unit is defeated, you can ready this unit and you can use ability once a turn, so once a round. So if you take out something by your opponent that is defeated, like as it got an upgrade, normally it's going to be, it could be shielded, but then you got to defeat the unit with the shield. Otherwise, it's going to lose the shield and then not be upgraded. But it's normally things like experience or like upgrades you put on the units. If you take them out from your opponent, then you can potentially restand this and get another swinging, which is pretty cool. So nice, it's just there for the solid stats, but that effect is a bonus, and it's also an underworld card as well, which most units in this deck are. Then we've got a Black Sunfire, once again, a never good free cost. It's a Sentinel unit, so Sentinel for space, which then kind of prevent your opponent from going all in, like just keep going ham at your base with the space race. And it's a free cost 3/2, which is not too bad. It's got the same kind of stats as like a 7th Fleet Defender, but it's just got Sentinel, and it's a nice way to kind of force your opponent away from your base and the suicide into this. Also, an underworld card to trigger Cad as well. Then we go into the forecasts. Now on like the higher ones, we get the higher class of the event of the units. We've got Forlorn being a very nice one, a 4-cost 4/4 underworld unit, so triggers Cad Bane and it can then go and attack, so it can potentially take out something that's 5 health, depending if the damage from Cad Bane goes to it. Also, it's ambush as well. That's why it can take out something straight away. Come down, ambush, attack straight away into a unit. And if you've got a Zuckles on board, then each friendly unit that is named Zuckuss gets an extra 1/1 power and ambush as well. So, and you can have any Zuckuss which can be played the turn after this. Comes down, also has ambush, and is stronger, and they kind of like that little duo, like the kind of pair kind of cards, where they kind of pair one, like how R2D2 and C3PO pair very well together with their effects. Forlom and Zuckuss pair very well as well because they're both kind of do the same thing. Especially if you can do Forlom early, keep it there, and Zuckuss come out the turn straight after and basically just wreak havoc as well. So 3 Gloves Axe, just as a good card. Ambush on a 4/4 4/4 with Underworld as well. It's very good, especially when combo with Cad Bane's effect, pinger damage. You can take out something that's quite 5 health, which is very, very nice. We've got 2 copies of Bosk, so this also has ambush. It's got similar stats. It's just a 5 cost 4/5, so slightly higher in its cost and health. But also has ambush, and it also has a nice little effect where if you play an event, you can deal 2 damage to a unit. So more ways to kind of ping damage with Cad Bane, which is really cool. So you can play in a unit with Bosk on board and if it's a underworld event, you can then potentially deal damage from Cad Bane and from Boss to do a fair bit of damage. And there's a kind that can kind of facilitate that. It's a really nice combination with it. We only play 2 copies of Boss because it's quite cheap and it's quite not as strong as some other cards for its cost. But it's just nice to have ambush, and then potentially if it survives, an extra bit of damage from its effect when you play an event. Then we got Syndicate Lackeys. Wasn't playing this in my list because I was literally just playing the list as I found it, but I've amended it and I have come to find that I want more like ambushy stuff, and Syndicate Lackeys is a very nice one. Because sometimes I was having some units where literally it wasn't that great to play, and I didn't want them in my hand, or I wanted some other units that could actually come down and attack straight away. Can I help clear the board early, keep the board clear so I can kind of establish the board? And Syndicate Lackeys is like that. It's also another one that has ambush, but has 5 power and 4 health, so the kind of reverse of Bosk. Same cost as Boss, but no extra effect, just ambush. So this potentially come down and take something like 6 health with Cad Bane's effect, or 7 depending if you're awakened, and kind of come down and kind of help clear out things a little bit. Just as helpful as well. Like ambush is a very good keyword skill, and it's very prominent in more the green side and the yellow side as well. So you've got 2 copies of it. You don't want too many because it's quite high to cost in game, but you still want some to help you out. And then here is Zuckuss. We've got another 3 copies of Zuckuss as well, because even asking, because I've seen people say that if they're trying to drop Zuckuss and don't find Zuckuss is great, like Zuckuss is kind of dependent on Forlom for the ambush, but still, if you think about it, it's still a 5 cost 6/6. And if you look at Poe is also a 5 cost 6/6. Like, sure, that isn't exactly what makes Poe amazing, because he's also got some good effects, but still, his stats are pretty decent, and he's also, Zuckuss is very nice in that it's got Zabator, so you can get through defeat all shields a unit has when it attacks them, or ignore Sentinel, which is very good, and 5 cost 6/6 is very good stats for its cost. And if you have Forlom out, Forlom gains an extra +1/1 power, so you make a Forlom that you've had from the turn before stronger, and give it Saboteur as well. So if you have them both on the board, Forlom is a 4 cost 5/5 with ambush and Saboteur, and Zuckuss is a 5 cost 7/7 with ambush and Saboteur as well. So you can play Forlom come out, take something out, next turn play Zuckuss, which then have ambush from Forlom being out, and be able to attack it straight away and swing for 7, which is very, very, very nice. Especially when you have Forlom out and your opponent gets out the leader, potentially on 5 resources, Zuckuss can come down and smash it, which is really cool. So that's why I've kept it in, because it's just very good stats for its cost. Now, a lot of time I was finding this early and I had to resource it and had to keep hold of everything, but I do want to always keep this and play out because still it's an underworld unit. Like all these are underworld units. Like everything you've seen so far is underworld unit, so it can trigger CAD and also very good stats for Zuckuss as well. And that brings us to the last card in the deck. Well, not last card, but last unit, and that is Ruthless Raider. Now this is the only unit in the deck that isn't a underworld card, and for good reason, because it's got a very good effect, especially pairs with Cad Bane. Like, sure, you can't trigger Cad Bane from this to go ahead and deal some damage for it, but it's got a very nice effect that could help you end games as well. Because it's a 6 cost 4/6, which is not the most amazing stats, but pretty decent. 6 cost 4/6, but it's got an effect that when it's played or when it's defeated, you deal 2 damage to an enemy unit and 2 damage to your opponent's base as well. So you do 2 damage to their base, put that damage straight to base, and also 2 opponents' unit. You get to choose from this effect, so you can kind of use it to finish off, choose what you want to kind of finish off, kind of things like that. And also then when it's defeated, if you smash it or just keep attacking and trying to get rid of it, it's then going to do 2 more damage to your opponent's base and to one of your units as well. So very nice effect there. If you can get multiple out, it's very, very good. You have to take out both eventually, and they're both going to do 2/2 to things as well. So very nice card that kind of falls very well with Cad Bane. Hence, is one of those decks where you don't play much of the color you're putting it with, just like how with Palpatine Yellow, you don't play many yellow cards, but yellow cards are there because they do something very well. It pairs with Palpatine and the aspect he is. Same with Cad Bane. You mainly play the yellow stuff because it's all like the underworlds and like the cards that pair very well with it. And then the red cards are more cards that can do damage or just be very helpful to the leader. Same with like Reckless Gunslinger. It's about damage and underworld card. Pit Punishing one, very good space unit underworld card, and Ruthless Raider, not an underworld card, but still can push damage, which is very nice. So that is the all the units, and we've got the one upgrade being Hotshot Blaster. It's a very nice one because we're playing yellow. It's played cheaper than if you play it in just normal color, and that's because it's a 1-cost upgrade that can give a 2 power to a unit, no health. But if you smuggle it in for 1 yellow for as long as you're playing yellow and pay 3 resources, you can then smuggle it out to upgrade onto a unit, and then because you smuggle it out, its effect triggers, which when played using smuggle allows you to attack with the attached unit. So this is like a boost and attack. It's like 2 actions in one. Be able to boost a card and then attack with a card. Do it all in one to kind of get those sneak wins. But just finishing off with this as well, especially if you've got a Zuckuss out, and then you next turn Hotshot Blaster Zuckuss and swing for 8, and I can potentially end the game by doing the rest of the damage to their board, which is very, very cool. Now, you can't do it to a vehicle, but you don't have many vehicles. The only ones you've got really are the space units. You don't have any vehicles in the ground arena, just in the space. So this is always going to be valid for anything in the ground arena. When you play 2, because we wanted to clog, but it's still 2 should be hopefully enough to see it, and then basically resources. So as long as you've got 1 resource, you can always know you've got that ready to kind of sneak boosted damage swing in to kind of end the game. Now the rest of the 5 cards we've got in here are events. We've got the first one here is Daring Raid, which is very nice. It's a very nice unit, can help kind of pair very well with Cad Bane, and also kind of help in end the game a little bit quicker, because it's a 1-cost event that essentially allows you to do 2 damage either to a unit or to a base. So you can either do it to the base to kind of finish and push more damage on to kind of end the game, like get within range where this could just finish them off, or use this as a way to finish off a unit by doing that last 2 damage to it to kind of help. It's got very nice applications, but we have 2 because it was an event. You're not really gaining anything on board with it, and unless you've got Bosk, is not really doing anything else rather than its own effect. So you've got 2 copies just because it's really nice to help finish off games and can come in clutch for certain situations. Next, we've got Free McClunky. So this is the only only event that is also an underworld. So it pairs very nicely with Cad Bane and Boss together. And it's a very nice event because it's a 1-cost event that allows you to return a friendly non-leader underworld unit to a hand. And then if you do, deal 3 damage to a unit. So you can, say you ambush with Forlom. Come an ambush, take something out, survive the attack. Now Forlom is heavily damaged and potentially be taken out by a unit to swing into it. You can always look at that, put it back in your hand, so you can basically ambush out again, and then deal 3 damage to a unit, which is very good. And especially because it's Underworld, Cad Bane will also then ping 1 damage, which you can choose the order, I think it is, with this as well. So very nice way to kind of get back some of your cards to make use of it, like get back Crafty Smugglers to play it out again, get back Bazine so you can play it out again, or even one of these ambush units if they survive, get it back so you can then go ahead and drop down and swing again. So 3 copies of this because it's just a great card as well. Then we got 2 copies of Sneak Attack. Now I did have this at 3 in the main, but also had free Jabba, because Jabba is a unit that can come down, make all your trick cards being McClunky, because McClunky is an underworld and a trick card, and also Sneak Attack, making cost 1 less. So then McClunky is free to use because it then goes from costing 1 to 0, and then Sneak Attack is 1 cost. And then you can kind of use Jabba to kind of find these cards, which I thought was very good. But then a lot of time I had Jabba, I was resourcing it or playing out and then failing to find anything from it. So basically just paying 4 resources to get a 2/8 unit, which is bulky but isn't do much damage that I want to. And what is an Underworld just wasn't that great. So I've kind of decided to cut Jabba out of it and also then put Sneak Attack down from 2 to 3. I still got Sneak Attack because it's a great card as well. Because the 2-cost event allows you to play a unit from your hand. It costs 3 less and it has play ready. So it only reduces the cost of it. It doesn't play for free. Well, unless it's a free cost or less, you can play out for free. But then the unit at the end of the turn gets defeated. But you can normally use this to kind of end games, because especially with Ruthless Raider, you can use it as a way to, for 5 resources, push 8 damage in, because you can use Sneak Attack to bring out Ruthless Raider comes with 3 less. You're paying 2. You have to pay air for 3, so it costs 5. Ruthless Raider do the effect for when played, deal 2 damage to a unit and to a base. Swing, because it comes in active as well, because this brings it in active, it's swing 4 damage, so that's 6 damage. End of the turn, end of the round, it gets defeated. It does another 2 damage to base into a unit, so you potentially, if you were 8 off, Ruthless Raider with Sneak Attack can help finish off that swing then, and potentially 2 damage to a unit to either take something out or finish off some things that you were pinging with small amounts of damage too. So 2 copies of this, because it can even do with everything as well, like for a Zuckuss, bring it out to do come in active, swing 6 damage straight away, especially if you got Sentinel, you want to get out some damage in, but your unit's being blocked, bring out Zuckuss, is ready, attack straight away for 6 damage, or even with this, bring it out for 4, so you basically 2 copies cost for this. Zuckuss now comes down for 2, and then you can swing it with the next card being Surprise Strike to do a whopping 9 damage to finish off the game. So very nice little combination with that, and then Surprise Attack, another one we could do, which is a 2-cost event that allows you to attack with a unit and swing for 3 extra power. So you can either use this to take out something that's out of range by making, like, say you've got things like a Boba on the board. Your opponent's got units 9 power. It's been there for a turn. It's rested. You can go Surprise Strike, swing, ping 3 damage from the Boba, then extra 6 damage from Boba swing. Then it's finished off, or even just allow things to swing at your opponent's base. 4 more damage power than they normally are. They kind of push more damage to base to kind of win the game faster and be more aggressive. So 3 copies of this because it's very handy, especially when you've got cheap units like Bazine, Crash Smuggler stuff. You can turn them into little units that normally would do nothing to kind of things that kill and threaten every unit your opponent controls or their base. The last card we got is 2 Waylay, because Waylay is nice. You kind of don't want to be putting cards back in their hand because they just play them back out again. It's not the best form of removal, but it's useful, especially if your opponent spends the whole turn playing out a card, like a unit. You can put it back in their hand, so they essentially take the turn to play out a unit, essentially things like Crate Dragon, and then you've just gone ahead and put it straight back in their hand, so you don't have to worry about it at all. So essentially, a way to just like clear things off board and then just go ahead and not worry about like making your opponent waste an entire turn where they got re-established the next turn, or just get something out of the way that's in the way, like for Sentinels if you don't have Zuckuss. So that is the main deck. It's 50 cards because I don't want to put it up above too much, and I felt like this is the change I would make when playing in future and we're playing again, and I do look forward to playing Cad Bane Red again, and also want to try out playing the Cad Bane Blue and also green versions as well, so I'm looking forward to that. I will have that eventually on the channel when I get around to playing more locals with those decks. So that is the main deck of the other side, so I'll go over that now, so stay tuned for that. Right, so we've got the side deck. Now remember, with the side decks, they are person to person playing a deck or building a deck, so don't just go ahead and use it and then find out that it's not great. Remember, if you don't agree with any choices, just go ahead and switch it yourself. This is what I would take after like playing the deck a little bit and trying it out, and what I feel could be handy. But your meta or what your local meta or the tournament you go into could have a different kind of could have things that kind of need certain decks or cards that aren't going to be useful in those kind of and that meta or that place or that tournament. So go ahead and change it if you want. Remember, side deck's always personal to the player. So with the first one we've got 5 cards. We've got 2 copies of Wolf. I found when I played against Blue, it's very hard to kind of like to keep healing. You kind of want to stop that heal so you can keep pushing the pressure whilst taking out the units. So I got 2 copies of Wolf. Might end up at the 3 just to make sure you can have something that comes down. It's not an underworld card, but then again, it doesn't always have to be an underworld card. You can also play everyone's for cheap alongside it to kind of still ping the damage from Cad Bane. But this is a nice way to kind of stop them from healing and keep pushing that damage to base, be aggressive and kind of make so their restores and stuff like that aren't as relevant. We also got 2 copies of Gamorrean Guards. It's a nice one because sometimes you might need a Sentinel in the ground arena. We can't have any really. The only Sentinel we've got is the Black Sun Starflyer for the space. So we've got these 2, these side in for against if you need Sentinel in the ground arena. And it's an underworld as well, so it's a pretty nice one to go with Cad Bane, so trigger the ping. And also it's a 4-cost 4/4, so just like it's got pretty good stats for its cost. And where you've got any other yellow unit on board, could be in the ground arena or space arena, you gain Sentinel, which normally is going to be the case. Then we've got 2 copies of Confiscate, because in yellow and red, like in yellow you didn't really have anything to deal with upgrades well, apart from just taking out a card before it can upgrade or taking it out. It's got 2 Confiscates here, because when you play against some of the better decks in the format, or the best decks in the format, being like Boba and Sabine, that come down with things like Dark Saber and Boba's armor, you kind of want to get rid of those because they're really annoying to deal with after they've been put on the unit. So we've got Confiscate as well to just knock them off and be like goodbye. You could put in instead the Mandalorian or the Disabled Fangfire, but the thing was that it's kind of a more costly one. It's going to take up, and if you want to do some get use of Cad Bane's ping effects by playing Underworld as well, you can't always do that in the same turn with playing the Disabled Fangfire. Most of the time you probably can, but then it's taking up more resource, where this is just a one-cost event, take off an upgrade. You can do more, like on multiple things, whereas a 2 Fangfire gets you a unit on board, and takes off the upgrades. It's kind of what you prefer. I prefer to have Confiscate, because the cheaper way to do it was still kind of going on with Cad Bane playing Underworld triggers effect, but you can always switch this out for Saming Fangfire, do the same thing but establish a unit on board for a little bit more cost. Then we got 2 Obvious Relentless Pursuit. Sometimes I felt like kind of want to have some removal that isn't just Waylay to remove things. Now, the most you can kind of take from boards in this deck is 6 if you put on Cad Bane, but you can always know that you're going to have Cad Bane at some point when he deploys as early as turn 5 or when you get 6 resources. And as soon as he comes down, you can use this. It's not an Underworld card, but it's not everything has to be. But it's a nice way to kind of take something off your opponent's board at 6 cost or less, put under Cad Bane, and because Cad Bane might only get a shield, and just have that removal and kind of protection of Cad Bane as well. So you can, especially when you're dealing with one thing I found was annoying to kind of deal with is Obi-Wan. If I didn't have the Waylay and stuff like that, taking it off, trying to get it off the board was kind of a pain. So this is a nice way to do it. That I wish when I played in the tournament had more copies of this, just one in my side. And then the last card we've got is 2 Change of Heart. This could be a handy way to kind of help take something off your opponent's board. So if you've got initiative and they've got things like Luke, they've got a Crate Dragon, they've got some big units, better units that you like having a hard time dealing with, you can always just use Change of Heart, take control of them, and use it to kind of just go and fight them back with. Now, it's a high cost unit, high cost event being 6 costs, but if it can turn the tide of the game and kind of finish it off, then it could be very handy there. Taking a Luke off your opponent's board and be able to swing in and crash into one of your opponent's units to take him out, or even get the heal and then force them to kind of deal with it if they want to get it back, or even just kill it by ramming it into theirs anyway. It could be a very nice time. Or if you're taking your opponent's Crate Dragon after they've after you've taken the initiative and they've played it that turn, you can then go ahead and take it. You'll take 6 damage, but then you'll swing 10 damage at their base, and anything they play further for that turn will be you can choose option of doing damage to their opponent's base for each card they use. You can kind of finish them off there using their own card. So that is the side deck. So you can always change it up. I do feel like I do want to put more Wolf, maybe one less Change of Heart in, but that's just me. But change it up however you want. That is the deck. If you have any questions or any suggestions, feel free to comment down below. And remember to subscribe if you want to. Keep it contact with me. I have a Never Locals Friday, which probably is today when I upload it. And I'll be trying a different deck. I'll be trying I can't remember what I was going to try, but you'll see it next week when I put the gameplay out, which hopefully it records. But I'll catch you in the next one. So thank you for watching, and see you next time.
Like a boss.